Hi friends, I'm back again. This is our third video. This is our third dip into the one and only Ivan. I hope you're enjoying it so far. If you are following along at home, we are on page 32 and this chapter is called A Plan. It's been 2 days since anyone's come to visit. Mac is in a bad mood. He says we're losing money hand over fist. He says he's going to sell the whole lot of us. When Thelma, a blue and yellow macaw, demands, "Kiss me, fat boy," for the third time in 10 minutes, Mac throws a soda can at her. Thelma's wings are clipped so she can't fly, but she can still hop. She leaps aside just in the nick of time. "Pucker up," she says with a shrill whistle. Mac stomps off to his office and slams the door shut. I wonder if my visitors have grown tired of me. Maybe if I learn a new trick or two, it will help. Humans do seem to enjoy watching me eat. Luckily, I'm always hungry. I'm a gifted eater. I feel like that too sometimes. A silverback must eat 45 pounds of food a day if he wants to stay a silverback. 45 pounds of fruit and leaves and seeds and stem and bark and vines and rotten wood. 45 pounds. Also, I enjoy the occasional insect. I'm going to try to eat more. Maybe then we'll get more visitors. Tomorrow I will eat 55 pounds of food. Maybe even 50 pounds of food, maybe even 55. That should make Mac happy. Bob. I explained my plan to Bob. "Ivan," he says, "trust me on this one. The problem is not your appetite." He hops up onto my chest and licks my chin, checking for leftovers. Bob is a stray, which means he does not have a permanent address. He's so speedy, so wily, that the mall workers long ago gave up trying to catch him. Bob can sneak into cracks and crevices like a tracked rat. He lives well off the ends of hot dogs, and he pulls from the trash. He pulls from the trash. For dessert, he laps up spilled lemonade and splattered ice cream cones. I've tried to share my food with Bob, but he's a picky eater and says he prefers to hunt for himself. Bob is tiny, wiry, and fast, like a barking squirrel. He is nut-colored and big-eared. His tail moves like weeds in the wind, spiraling, dancing. Bob's tail makes me dizzy and confused. It has meanings within meanings, like human words. I am sad, it says. I am happy, it says. Beware, I might be tiny, but my teeth are sharp. How many of you have ever noticed that dogs and cats both communicate with their tails? Sometimes we know what it means, but sometimes we don't. Gorillas don't have any use for tails. Our feelings are uncomplicated. Our rumps are unadorned. Bob used to have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Humans tossed them out of a truck onto the freeway when they were a few weeks old. Bob rolled into the ditch. The others did not. That part makes me sad when I think about how humans misuse or mistreat and abuse animals. And I wish I could tell you that's not true, that does happen. So that's how Bob got to the roadside attraction. His first night on the highway, Bob slept in the icy mud of the ditch. When he woke, he was so cold that his legs would not bend for an hour. The next night, Bob slept under some dirty hay near the Big Top Mall garbage bins. The following night, Bob found a spot in the corner of my domain where the glass is broken. I dreamed that I had eaten a furry donut, and when I woke up in the dark, I discovered a tiny puppy snoring on top of my belly. It had been so long since I had felt the comfort of another's warmth that I wasn't sure what to do. Not that I hadn't had visitors. Mac had been to my domain, of course, and many other keepers. I'd seen my share of rats as it passed, and the occasional wayward sparrow had fluttered through a hole in my ceiling, but they never stayed long. I didn't move all night for fear of waking Bob. This chapter is called Wild. Once I asked Bob why he didn't want a home. Humans, I'd noticed, seemed to be irrationally fond of dogs, and I could see why a puppy would be easier to cuddle with than, say, a gorilla. Everywhere's my home, Bob answered. I'm a wild beast, my friend, untamed and undaunted. Undaunted. Undaunted means unafraid. I told Bob that he could work in the shows like Snickers, the poodle who rides Stella. Bob says Snickers sleeps on a pink pillow in Mac's office. He says she eats foul-smelling meat from a can. He made a face, his lips curled, revealing tiny needles of teeth. Poodles, he said, are parasites. Does that mean he thinks highly of poodles or he doesn't think highly of poodles? Picasso. Mac gives me a fresh crayon, a yellow one, and 10 pieces of paper. Time to earn your keep, Picasso, he mutters. I wonder who this Picasso is. Does he have a tire swing like me? Does he ever eat his crayons? I can hear the kids in my homeroom, or actually Miss Gerald's and Miss Wick's homerooms, giggling right now because we've just been studying about Picasso in our Artist of the Month time together. So we actually know who Picasso is. It's kind of interesting to hear what Ivan wonders. I scan my domain. What is yellow? What is yellow? A banana. I draw a banana. The paper tears, but only a little. I lean back and Mac picks up my drawing. Another day, another scribble, he says. 1 down, 9 to go. What else is yellow, I wonder, scanning my domain. I draw another banana, and then I draw 8 more. 3 visitors. 3 visitors are here. A woman, a boy, a girl. I strut across my domain for them. I dangle from my tire swing. I eat 3 banana peels in a row. The boy spits at my window. The girl throws a handful of pebbles. Sometimes I'm glad the glass is there. My visitors return. After the show, the spit pebble children come back. I display my impressive teeth. I splash in my filthy pool. I grunt and I hoot and I hoot. I eat and eat and eat some more. The children pound their pathetic chests and they toss more pebbles. Slimy chimps, I mutter. Remember what slimy chimps are? Humans. I throw a me-ball at them. Sometimes I wish the glass were not there. Sorry. I'm sorry I called those children slimy chimps. My mother would be ashamed of me. Julia. Like the spit pebble children, Julia is a child, but that, after all, is not her fault. When her father George cleans the mall each night, Julia sits by my domain. She could sit anywhere she wants, by the carousel, in the empty food court, on the bleachers coated in sawdust. But I'm not bragging when I say she always chooses to sit with me. I think it's because we both love to draw. Sarah, Julia's mother, used to help clean the mall, but when she got sick and grew pale and stooped over, Sarah stopped coming. Every night, Julia offers to help George, and every night, he says firmly, "Homework, Julia. The floors will just get dirty again." What does that tell us about Julia's father? What do you think? Does it tell us what his values are, what his priorities are? Homework, I've discovered, involves sharp pencils and thick books and long sighs. I enjoy chewing pencils. I'm sure I would excel at homework. Sometimes Julia dozes off and sometimes she reads her books, but mostly she draws pictures and talks about her day. I don't know why people talk to me, but they often do. Perhaps it's because they think I can't understand them. Or perhaps it's because I can't talk back. Julia likes science and art. She doesn't like Lila Burpee, who teases her because her clothes are old. And she does like Deshaun Williams, who teases her too, but in a nice way. And she would like to be a famous artist when she grows up. Sometimes Julia draws me. I'm an elegant fellow in her pictures, and my silver back is gleaming like moon on moss. I never look angry the way I do on the fading billboard by the highway. I always look a bit sad, though. I want to read one more. Drawing Bob. I love Julia's pictures of Bob. She draws him flying across the page, a blur of feet and fur. She draws him motionless, peeking out from behind a trash can, or the soft hill of my belly. Sometimes in her drawings, Julia gives Bob wings or a lion's mane. Once she gave him a tortoiseshell. But the best thing that she's ever given him wasn't a drawing. Julia gave Bob his name. For a long time, no one knew what to call Bob. Now and again, the mall worker would try to approach him with a tidbit. Here, doggy, doggy, they'd call, holding out a French fry. Come on, Pooch, they'd say. How about a little piece of sandwich? But he would always vanish into the shadows before anyone could get too close. One afternoon, Julia decided to draw the little dog curled up in the corner of my domain. First, she watched him for a long time, chewing on her thumbnail. I could tell she was looking at him the way an artist looks at the world when she's trying to understand it. Finally, she grabbed her pencil and set to work. When she was finished, she held up the page. There he was, a tiny big-eared dog. He was smart and cunning, but his gaze was wistful. Under the picture were 3 bold, confident marks circled in black. I was pretty certain it was a word, even though I couldn't read it. Julia's father peered over her shoulder. That's him exactly, he said, nodding. He pointed to the circled marks. I didn't realize his name was Bob, he said. Me either, said Julia. She smiled. I had to draw him first. All right, friends, that brings us to page 47. I'm going to pause there, and I will be picking up on page 48 next time. Don't forget to write in your response journals.